Hi everyone, my live on Friday. Here we are. I'm just going to wait to see if anyone is there who would like to listen to today's live, which is the Mystery School Teachings. We're going to talk a little bit about deeply connecting and understanding what the Mystery School Teachings are, why they came through, and what they're about. So if you're there, please let me know. I would love to see some comments. If you're watching the replay, please let me know that you're watching the replay. We will have question and answers at the end of today's live, just to open up a little bit more communication, to see if there are any lingering questions about this mystery school that I'm going to talk about. All right. So what a day. Here we are. It is Friday afternoon here in Brisbane, Australia. There is blue skies, sunshine, a little bit of cloud coming in now, not much, but it's still cool. Yeah. Earlier it was very warm in the sun. It was like, yay, spring has arrived. But I can sense that the afternoon temperature's just dipping a little bit, which is normal for winter, beautiful weather here in sunny Queensland. All right. So Mystery School Teachings. Let's see, who is going to be live with me today? Anyone there? Please comment, say hello, give me some hearts, give me some likes. You know, let me know that you are watching this live with me. That really deeply connects to me when I see that people really want to know more about what the world has to offer as deep teachings, as energy healings, beautiful energy understanding. So please, I would like to see lots and lots of hearts today. Okay, I think I better put this on because I forgot to put it on and I have plugged it in. Sorry, there we go. All right, so deep dive today. Deep dive into the Mystery School Teachings. All right, where did the mystery schools come into my existence? I would say it all came around a similar time. Everything I talk about there was what I call a timeline activation within me. And this timeline activation is between, 26 to 32 years ago, if that makes sense. So 26 to 32 years ago in my life, there were some things that happened that aligned me with a different energy, that made me question life and death, made me look at life differently, to, if you would say, to find out the mystery behind who we are, the mystery behind energy, what we can do with this, and who we are because of it. Now, so the Mystery School Teachings was something I actually heard of in back then, looking through books, reading certain things, and having my own experiences in my healing space as a Reiki master. Back then I was a Reiki practitioner and I used to have people come over to my home for Reiki. And I started to have beings of light enter my room. I'm not sure if all of you understand what a being of light is, but I'll try to explain a little bit about that also. Now, the Mystery School Teachings were deep mysteries that were coded within the human structure of the DNA. Oh, I'm not even going to go into that level today, but that's all the easiest way I could explain it. So the Mystery School Teachings, they began in the days of Christ. It began in the time when the who were they? Let me think. My mind's gone blank then. I can see them in my mind when I keep going to say the word Russian, but it's not Russian. Oh my gosh, what is it, Caroline? Come on. All I can say to you is the time of Julius Caesar, the Romans, oh my gosh, it's like, where'd my mind go? Oh, I wonder if the Romans have a similar energy to the Russian Democrats. Oh, that's okay. Anyway, I'm not even going to go there. I'm like getting all these downloads right now because I know what came through for me, but they're just throwing a few little moments in. All right, let me just center again. It's like, I know this is Jonah, but this is not a Jonah live today. All right, this is Mystery School Teachings. Now, all right, the days of Christ when the Romans came in, and of course there was the crucifixion of Jesus, all this happened. There was a group, a band of worshippers who were under that Christ energy, and they followed and they were there looking at the Christ. They were there wanting to help him and support him, believing in him. And at this time they had to hide. They had to run from where they were. And they went into the caves in the mountains. And they were known and became the name of the Essenes. So the Essenes were a legacy of teachers, of Christ teachings that were taken into the caves. They then would still practice their beliefs, their teachings, and it's not what we understand in the Bible today. There is a deeper understanding of this. It was all about the unseen. It was the Essenes as the unseen. They were the unseen as the Essenes, that they were there collecting information and teaching the most beautiful, kind, gentle information. And it was based, yes, we could call it based on love, but it was also based on energy and the understanding of, you know, as we know, the Christ in the body, the death and then the resurrection, and all of these about life and death. You know, this is the Christ's energy of us understanding who we are as a being of light. You know, Christ would always talk about, you know, in his life, about his Father who was not here, who was God, who, you know, Jesus' Father is God, which is God in the interpretation of the Essenes is the energy source. It is that practical, masculine, dominant energy that was helping guide humanity, that then placed the energy into a body which was called the Christ, but the energy was linked to the source of God. So the Essenes continued this knowledge. They continued this. Back then, you know, 28, 30 years ago, I had no idea about this. I would just share with you that my upbringing is two parents who were atheist. So I had no religious upbringing. So I had nothing to guide me, nothing that I could even bounce off or believe in. What I actually had to experience was the purest moment for me without having a belief system attached to religion. So to this day, I thank my parents for being atheist. Why? Because I had no preconceived ideas on any of this, only my own experience when the time in my life opened up to the unseen. Then the Essene energy came back into my life. I know very clearly, going through a past life, that I was one of the teachers in the caves, teaching the true lesson of the Christ, of the energy, of love, of non-judgmental, of caring, of being present. That was my job, that I was a teacher in the Essenes, and I brought that energy through, and that has played out in my life many times, that I have actually met another person, another human being in this lifetime with me, that together we worked in the caves together, that we literally were there. And I met him probably 20 years ago, 22 years ago now, here in Queensland. Just happened to go see him. He was a man who was very much into the Course of Miracles, and he came here to Brisbane to do talks, and I met him. And I never knew him, never knew of him, what his journey was, and I never understood that level of connection until that day I sat in front of him. And when he looked into my eyes, he recognized me. And I'm just a stranger in the crowd, I thought. And he looked at me and he went, hello. He said, it's been a long time. It's been thousands of years. And that blew my mind because my heart opened and I knew exactly what he was talking about. Yet before that moment, I had no idea what this meant. So this is how deep the mystery schools began for me, that I was aligning myself without consciously knowing with people and situations from this time in my life, this past where the mystery schools started. So it was a mystery. Why? Because it's coding. Why? Because it had to be hidden. Because in that timeline, it was not to be placed out into humanity, society, or there would have been a lot of trauma and a lot of death happening. So that was where it came from. Now, here I am born in this life, and yes, to atheist parents, which gave me that edge on it all, that I could actually go, wow, that was real. Oh, I felt that. Oh, I saw that. Oh, I heard that. So then as I started in my early 30s, my Reiki, I would have people come around to the room. Now, again, never really understanding a lot of what happened back in those days, but I never questioned it. I went along with it. I understood it inside me, not in my rational mind, okay? So I started to resonate and be drawn to books that had a certain, what I call vibration. So the mystery school teachings is hidden knowledge within you, and it will get triggered when needed in your environment. It will, maybe a person, like it was years ago with that person coming into my life, and also it will get triggered with books, as in, I always say to people say, what book should I read, Caroline? And I'm like, well, we're all different. We all have a journey which is vibrating at a certain frequency, and it is the frequency of the book that is going to match what you're vibrating at. So I used to go to bookstores. Now, the first time I went to a bookstore, a new age bookstore back then, I remember standing there and I'm like, oh, what can I read? The next thing I looked, and it was very unusual back where I was living in Adelaide at that time, north of Adelaide. I looked, and this woman who was from India, dressed in a full sari, with the bindi on her head, and she turned and she looked at me, and I looked at her, and she reached across my body, picked out a book, and she gave it to me. She goes, here. She said, I think this is what you could read. And I was like, oh, thank you. And I looked at the book and I was like, oh, wow, you know. And then I turned around and she was gone. And I was like, oh, wonder where she's gone. And I looked around the shop and I thought, wow, hang on a minute. Was she real? Did she actually exist? I even went to the door, looked all the way down the mall. She was gone. She vanished into thin air. And I knew at that moment that she was a guide, that she came to me to give me that book, because she just disappeared. Within not even a minute, she was gone. So the book, very interesting, was The Road Less Travelled by Scott Peck. Loved that book. It really resonated with me, you know, all about narcissism and stuff. It really got me into myself and got me to understand who I was. So that was absolutely amazing. And then this started to happen where I started to read different books, and the ones that really came to me that hit about the mystery schools was a lot to do with the Theosophical Society. The true Theosophical Society that was created by Helena Blavatsky. There was Annie Besant, there was Lord Kutumi, Dwal Kul, Saint Germain, all the ascended masters who are ascended now, but in that era, when the Theosophical Society was created, they were living human beings. Yes. Now, the mystery school teachings began there. They started to actually practice deep teachings of understanding energy, of who we are, and giving it practices, things to do, looking at timelines, looking at energy systems. This is what they did constantly. So Annie Besant, she would be one of the first original ones that I was drawn to personally. I felt an affiliation with her. I actually have one of her books here. This is an actual picture of Annie Besant. There she is. Very powerful, very beautiful, very deep, wise woman in her day. You can see even her clothing. These people lived in the late 1800s, okay, to early 19. So this is one of her books. It's called The Riddle of Life. You can see how old it is. It's pretty well, I've had this for many years. So yes, Annie Besant, The Riddle of Life. And they really started to work in about energy systems, astral bodies, auras, and understanding all that level. So the mystery school is all about these levels, because these levels hold the keys. These levels hold all our knowledge, our hidden knowledge, are keys within us. So Annie Besant was one that came to me. And what I learnt through her was deep wisdom about the energy of our aura, the astral body, which is a part of us also, but the astral body is what is connected to the source energy and how we can move through that. I haven't studied it deeply, and I don't astral travel consciously myself, but I know I do. I have actually done it once consciously. Yeah, it was interesting. But it's something that I'm always doing through my sleep state. Now, the next person who came through the mystery school teachings for me was Helena Blavatsky. Love Helena Blavatsky. Oh my God, like a lot of this work that I'm talking about is very, very technical. It's very sometimes complicated. Let me see, I actually have a book here. See, I didn't even realize I had these books I've written down here sitting right next to me. Isn't that interesting? So Isis Unveiled was the one, Secrets of the Ancient Wisdom. All right. Helena Blavatsky. Yes, Helena Blavatsky is one powerful woman, all right? Oh, and not realizing back then when I was doing all these teachings was all of them went to India. They ended up in India going through the Bhagavad Gita, understanding the layers and levels of it, reinterpreting some of it so that Westerners could understand. This is what Helena Blavatsky and Annie Besant had done. And hence, I always laugh because my journey is very deep in India too, which back then when I was doing the mystery school teachings and understanding there's something more, something deeper than who we are, that all these things were coming to me, not realizing that here I was going to be traveling to India myself. Yes, so, join the dots, people. If you join the dots of your life, you'll start to see why certain people, certain things, certain energy comes into your reality. All right, so here we go. There was Helena Blavatsky. Helena Blavatsky, you can, go onto Google and have a look. There are photos of her online standing with some of the Ascended Masters when they were living. Brilliant. And guess what? The third book sitting next to me. Well, this book blew my mind completely. You like this one, Vicky. It's called The Keys of Enoch. Ta-da! All right, The Keys of Enoch. Wow. It is the book of knowledge. The Keys of Enoch. Enoch also was a master in energy, a master in understanding. This is very symbolic, this book. It's very deep. It's not a book that you can actually read and take the information in. This is what the mystery schools are about. All this information is not about taking the information in and reading it and understanding and putting it down and going to another book. This work that I'm talking about is deep within you. And there is coding within you that will be unlocked at certain times. Not before, not after, but exactly when something in the world or somebody triggers it. That's what these... I just love this book. Seriously. Even this one I just opened up to. God's plan has no end. It is life in the house of many mansions. God's plan. Universal consciousness. What is the plan? There are many houses. There are many levels. That is the mystery school, because you are going to go from level 1 to level 2, and you're going to keep going. The levels don't really rise higher, they're going deeper. So they're going down and down and down into you. And your DNA has those codes that will ignite and open and take you to another level when it's time. Right. Now, my experience with the Ascended Masters started to appear before I even knew their names. I will tell you that when you really tune in and start to unravel and look at life deeper through meditation, one of the first Ascended Masters that came to me was it was a day I was giving some healings, and I had someone in my room on the table, and I had my hands on, had my eyes closed, and I felt a presence coming like this, and it was like hovering above us. Now this presence, I didn't see it, but I felt it. And I had my eyes closed, and I was humbled is the only word I could explain. I was humbled by this presence. It was so powerful, but so humble. It was gorgeous. That's the only words I could put to it. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Who is it? And what I saw in my mind's eye was like a monk's brown habit, you know, and it was like a masculine with the hood on, standing with the arms folded. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And I asked, like, who is this? And the name was surging through my mind, and it kept saying, Lord Kutumi, Lord Kutumi, Lord Kutumi, Lord Kutumi. And I was like, whoa. So I wrote it down, and I went into my bookcase, and I'm not realizing, I hadn't read this book, someone had given it to me. There was a book on the Ascended Masters. And Lord Kutumi was one of the Ascended Masters. And in this book that I had, I started to read that chapter on him. And it said, Lord Kutumi will often appear in a brown monk's habit. And I went, oh my gosh, even though Lord Kutumi was from India, yes, this is how he appeared to me, in that humility space. So his energy would come in quite often, and I did some channel writings, you know, probably 30 years ago from Lord Kutumi, and it was brilliant to actually, this is where it all started for me. It started for me opening up the mystery of who I am, the mystery of what is real in this world, the mystery of what we really need to do and where we need to go with it. That's what started to come through. And this is why I'm so passionate about energy, because an Ascended Master literally chooses to leave, not die, but leave the physical body to ascend into the energy source once more. They make a choice. The body actually doesn't die. They choose to leave. And they will tell, in that day and age with Madame Blavatsky and Annie Besant and Lord Kutumi, there was many of them that would say, on this day I am going to ascend. This is what ascension is. I'm going to ascend, because they were so pure in their body that they had healed what they need, and they knew, I can go and I can then come back as energy, and I can move through these realms together. Here's the mystery school, knowing how to move through these layers of energy. All right. So Lord Kutumi was the first Ascended Master that I had quite a very deep attachment to. It, you know, he was and still is a really big part of my journey. The next one that came through was Dwal Kul. Dwal Kul was a student in the living world of Lord Kutumi. Now, Dwal Kul, I felt such an affiliation to. It was like I felt his energy of a student in that day. Like, oh my God, like I am a student of this energy, of the Essenes, of the mystery schools, and I had to be humble. I had to learn to be humble. I had to be humble, and I had to listen, and I had to become aware of what was really going on. So this was the actual second Ascended Master. The third one was Saint Germain. Now, a lot of you have looked at the I Am teachings of Saint Germain. If you want to truly, truly understand, go and research Saint Germain and the I Am. Saint Germain taught that your higher self is who you are, that is that bridge between the two worlds. Saint Germain is the I am of consciousness. It brought the energy of Saint Germain, brings that energy in. He was a very, very beautiful soul in a body, and still a beautiful energy in the unseen energies. So Saint Germain, I always say the color violet, the violet flame. So here's mystery school teaching starting to really come into the earth form. A lot of groups were created many years ago based on Saint Germain and the I Am principle and the violet flame teachings. Now when you have a look at that, you'll see that people would come in groups and they would talk about it, they would share about it, and they would work on understanding who I am, which is I am the I am, and that is all I am. I am the I am, and that is all I am. Okay, so all of this started to come in, all right? Everything started to come into play. It was starting to be taught again. For me, I didn't actually go into any groups, but I was doing my own research. And when I say my own research, I didn't even have a computer or phone back then. I'm talking about internal research. My research that got me to who I am today wasn't Google, wasn't documents, wasn't even books. They helped. But my own research was asking internally, waiting to see what occurred, waiting to feel the answer or hear the answer or experience the answer inside me or see a vision. That was my journey. So when I say I researched, I asked and I asked and I asked, and I waited and I waited and I waited, because the keys are within you. Keys of Enoch, mystery school teachings, they are within you. So this knowledge is well hidden, but it will arise and come to you when needed. You have to trust in that. What happens is the timeline will bring situations and people into your experience who will trigger the deeper teachings. Why? To awaken them, wake you up, to awaken you to your calling. Your calling, if you are woke, if you get woken by an experience, then you are part of the mystery school teachings, that you are a light worker. Yes, that's what a light worker is to understand who they are and place that energy out into place that energy out into atmosphere of where you are. All right. This is what we call coding. Everything we say, do, feel, experience is a vibration that goes out. It's a coding that appears, that our physical energy, our physical body and our energy systems starts to take on. It's a mystery because we don't get it from the rational mind. The Essenes created an ancient form of teaching which brought simplicity to the codes. There are not many to understand, but each one with its insights, with its data, with its knowledge, unravels all of it. This is the mystery school teachings. It's not a philosophy that you can ground in the world. It needs to be a philosophy opened up within you. It becomes you. That's the only way I can explain it. All right. Okay, so that is the mystery school teachings. Is there any questions? Does anyone have anything they would like to share or ask me regarding what I have just shared? I'm just going to wait for a moment. Otherwise, I'm going to leave this with you because truly, it's very deep. This work that I'm sharing with you, it's not superficial. You won't find it in many books. You might see some of it occasionally, but there's not going to be much. It's something that you have to find within yourself. Understand within yourself. Yes, that is the mystery of who you are. Unravel that mystery and you're going to get it. You will totally, totally understand. I haven't seen any comments coming up. That's great. Oh, Vicky. Sorry, Vicky. Is meditation the only way to access the keys? All right. I said the keys are within you, correct? So where else would you? Oh, sorry. I just froze. So the keys are within you. Yes. Sorry, I just disconnected. I think I'm back. I'll just start again. So the keys are within you. Yes. Everything is within you. The world is where we experience it outside of us, but everything is within us. So is meditation the only way to access the keys? If you don't want to meditate, you could close your eyes and ask. It's internal work. Healer, heal thyself. Counselor, counsel thyself. Find the work inside you. Find the answers inside you. The keys are within inside you. I say sorry, my internet seems to be playing up. I say through meditation because that is the way I found them. If you can sit and just contemplate and listen and feel, and you can journal, do a little bit of channeling, writing. Start to write things down that you get. What's that? Write it down. A lot of people are so busy that they don't stop to actually write the information down. Or what do I do with that information? Or is that information correct? Or where did that information come from? You need to do the work on yourself, always. It's an always process. So yes, is meditation the only way? No, it is not the only way. But if you are not good at stopping, then I would say that would be your way. You need to go in. All right. What I was also saying is remember that they're coding and experiences. So these codes, the mystery school, the deeper codes, when you have an experience in the world, in a situation with someone, or not even with some, just something you've read, but it triggers something within you. What that trigger, that trauma is another coding opening up to give you the experience, to look at it, to heal it, to clear it, to unravel the next layer. So your keys of coding can be opened without just meditating, but by experiencing a little bit of trauma, suffering, a little bit of negative. I know I hear a lot these days of people saying, but it's changed. We should be able to just raise vibration and it's done. And I'm like, great. And how long will that last? Can you actually hold that? Can you really, really trust it? Can you truly know that you can just choose to do it, be happy, be vibrant, raise vibration, and that's all you have to do. If you have that belief, great. If you don't, then you have to do a bit of deeper work, okay? That's the key. So thank you for that, Vicky. Those who do meditate, you are already answering that question because you are already in that strand of coding within you. All right. Mystery school teachings. One day I will create a little bit more on this. There's so many layers, but they're brilliant to understand who we are. You're welcome, Vicky. All right. Time for me to go. Love and blessings to you all. I hope you enjoyed this live. Please give me lots of hearts. Come on. Like, I know Vicky's there, and I know there's some other people who are watching. If you don't interact with me, then people don't get to see these things. And I really, really would love to see some hearts. Give me some hearts. I haven't seen any hearts. Where's a heart? Vicky, you going to give me a heart? Not a like, a heart. Do you know likes don't, Facebook algorithms don't count likes, they count hearts and comments. So algorithms, it's a necessity in the online business to comment and interact with people who are online. Why? So more people can see this information. That's my gift to you, that I want to share this information. So please help me. All right. Love and blessings, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.